When it comes to the different pairings that we have in the world of Naruto, one of the ones that really stood out for most fans who watched the anime was this whole idea of Sasuke and Sakura being a thing. And as we gotten a glimpse into their family life in the Boruto era, there are still some of those out there who still think that this was a pairing that was completely out of left field. And the question oftentimes still gets asked, how did Sasuke go from showing no interest in Sakura to wanting to kill her to wanting her to have his kid and carry his last name? It's led to jokes that this is a abusive relationship, a toxic relationship, and that Sakura has to have some type of Stockholm syndrome for wanting to be with a guy who many people would consider to have been her abuser. However, in today's video, I want to explain not only what led to Sasuke realizing what led to Sasuke realizing he was in love with Sakura, as well as clear up some of the misconceptions that exist around the pairing itself, which mostly comes from a lot of people who say this being people who are anime only consumers of the Naruto IP, which there's nothing wrong with that. But as I've said numerous times here on the channel, there are times where the anime changes crucial information, cuts things out, or it doesn't properly adapt the material or doesn't adapt it at all, which leads to a lot of the misconceptions that are out there about various characters. So starting off with the Sasuke and Sakura development, this isn't some random occurrence that some people will tell you on Twitter or YouTube or Reddit. You've essentially been led astray by an echo chamber. Sasuke didn't get a Rasengan that blew off his hand and then suddenly get a tingly feeling below his pants when Sakura is healing him, like people have been saying since 2014 when the last Naruto manga chapter came out. Going by Sasuke's own words, this wasn't the case at all. It was actually much sooner than that, which is why in the Naruto manga in volume 72, Sasuke's foot is shown shaking at Sakura's words during her confession, and why he chose to put her under a genjutsu before running off to fight Naruto during their final battle. In truth, the entirety of Naruto Part 2, Sasuke already knew he possessed feelings for Sakura, but was actively trying to suppress them due to his mind being set on first killing Itachi and then restoring the honor of the Uchiha clan by destroying the village once he learned the truth behind the Uchiha massacre. But at no point was Sakura Haruno ever a true target for him. While he did try to kill her during the 5 Kage summit, we later learned it was because of those feelings for her that drove Sasuke to wanting to go that far, because he already had it made up in his mind that he needed to sever all bonds that could bring him to a point where he wouldn't destroy the Hidden Leaf Village, his sensei Kakashi, his best friend Naruto, and the girl that he knew that he loved, Sakura. That's not my twisted interpretation of Sasuke's state of mind and perspective during this time period. It's literally told to us in the story that Naruto Shippuden never adapted in the anime. So the information comes to us from the Naruto epilogue story set between Naruto chapter 699 and chapter 700, which is titled Akatsuki Hiden, Evil Flowers in Full Bloom, which follows Sasuke Uchiha as he finishes his redemption journey and makes his way back to the Hidden Leaf Village, where after meeting children who lost family members due to one of the mercenary missions that the Akatsuki undertook when they were building funds before they began their Jinchuriki hunt, which as a reminder, we're told in the Naruto manga more than once that Akatsuki were contracted by some of the ninja nations like the Land of Earth in order to carry out odd jobs that need to be kept off the books. Sasuke ventures off before returning to Konoha to look into the origins of the Akatsuki members and to find the answer to the question of could any of them been redeemed like himself if they had someone like Naruto in their corner who never gave up on them, and why is it that the shinobi system failed each of the Akatsuki members. During that time, Sasuke reveals to us the very moment he knew he was in love with Sakura and how it was an invisible weighted noose around his neck that he was consciously aware of as he descended further into the darkness, and how that noose was made heavier by his relationship with Naruto, which is why he was so desperate to sever bonds with both of them. In the particular story, he tells us that, quote, he was his own sin. Traveling alone is a way to redeem it and to reconsider his own shadow. His crimes were and should have imprisoned him, and that was actually one of the main reasons why Sasuke did this in the shadows. Sasuke was desperately trying to break his ties of friendship with Uzumaki Naruto, but now Sasuke was grateful to him and relieved that he did not let go of their friendship back then, and even now still never lets go of their friendship. Back then, Naruto was the only one who had faith in him, and then there was her. Even though he abandoned her, ditched her, and many times was cold to her, Haruno Sakura had still dedicated her love to him. Despite having every reason to not do so, she was always trying to give the spring sunshine to his own dark light. Their love for him is why everything was changing for the better, and why everyone, including now himself, could feel it. End quote. Sasuke then goes on to say that he was, quote, angry and half in love with her and tremendously sorry. He turned away, end quote, when thinking about the night he left the Hidden Leaf Village. That information should make you pause and go back to the start of the scenes of the Sasuke retrieval arc and look at them a lot differently. Sasuke in the manga was hesitating as he looks at the photo of Team 7 he kept in his bedroom. The way that he pauses when Sakura begs for him to stay in the village, the smile before he says thank you and knocks her out and takes the time out to set her on the bench instead of leaving her on the street. There were signs that Sasuke was struggling with heart in his heart and wanting to keep himself with the two people in the village who cared about the most. After the war, one of the things that we see in Sasuke Shinden, the story of Sunrise, which was only partially adapted into the Naruto Shippuden anime after the war, was that Sasuke was moved when he would hear the whispers of things regarding Sakura and her accomplishments after the war, which I've gone in detail with in the Legacy of Sakura video, with Sasuke's internal monologue saying that because Sakura had become someone as a shinobi that many people could count on, it was all the more reason for him to continue his redemption journey and find answers to what he believed to be fears of himself at the same time in that story, which is that Tobirama was right about the Uchiha clan's emotions being a trigger to their downfall, and Sasuke's worried that if he ever lost Naruto, if he ever lost Sakura, that Sasuke would fall back into darkness without someone there to bring him back, making it a point to want to reward their love and faith in him by returning home to Konoha strong enough as his own man to be able to pull himself out of the darkness. In Sakura Hiden's story, Love Riding the Spring Breeze, set just after the events of Naruto the Last, when Naruto and Hinata are engaged and they're preparing their wedding in a few months, we see Sakura holding herself busy with work, building that reputation that Sasuke is made aware of. But when word reaches Sasuke in that story that Sakura is facing danger, he willingly returns home to the Lane of Fire, to what he knows is a trap set by holdover loyalists to Danzo's root that Kakashi and Tsunade hadn't flushed out of hiding, because Sasuke learns they're messing around with DNA of Naruto and Sasuke left behind at the Final Valley, which in hindsight, that makes a lot of sense. You see the black market for Hashirama cells. Imagine getting yourself some Naruto or Sasuke cells. The Zanbu, they were thinking big brain. In this story that was never adapted into the anime, there is a focus on Sakura becoming the partner that Sasuke would want to have when he returns home to the village, her building a foundation for what Sasuke would eventually call his home after he completed his redemption journey, and referred to it as a soul-searching journey, and he refers to Sakura as being his home. When Sasuke does finally decide to return home to Konoha, despite what Naruto Shippuden's anime shows you, it's not Naruto who finally convinces Sasuke to come back home. It's actually Sakura's words that does so. In the Naruto Shippuden anime adaptation of Sasuke Shinden, the story of Sunrise, which is what anime fans will refer to as being the Exploding Human saga, Sasuke gets a letter from Naruto where it reads, Naruto telling Sasuke that he's just like the Uchiha police force in a way, and that's what spurred him to come home. However, this was another change made by the anime. Sasuke never shared that information with Naruto like the anime made it appear. The only person who Sasuke told that information to about him having a dream of joining the Uchiha police force in Konoha and protecting the village and wanting to continue to protect the village, that was revealed to us in the story to be Sakura. That's a conversation they had before Sasuke left the village. It was a reminder of the story that he told Sakura that made him return home to the village and stop being afraid to be emotionally involved with others. As Sasuke puts it, quote, he wasn't afraid to be involved anymore. The way forward was set, the village of Konoha, end quote. While there was some connective tissue in the events after the war that was not animated, much to my chagrin, like the Sakura story showing us a glimpse into the future where Sasuke literally pulls up at her doorstep and says that he's home, home being him referring to Sakura. There are moments in the 72 volumes of the Naruto manga that accomplish the same thing, but the problem is that the two Naruto anime made some changes to a lot of the scenes, which is why there is as big of a disconnect with a lot of Western fans versus the Japanese fans, because Here, it's already hard enough to get people to read manga, even when there are pretty pictures to look at, let alone the stories that have hundreds of pages of text with no art in it outside of the cover pages. But in Japan, reading manga is more in the culture. Reading things like light novels is more understood, versus here, the content is mostly consumed in anime format, which that is fine, but there are times where it leads to misunderstandings of things that are made more clear when you consume the material the way that Kishimoto and Shueisha intended, via the manga, via the light novels that Shueisha put in the weekly Shonen Jump timeline when they were coming out. For instance, when you watch the first Naruto anime, Sasuke comes off more annoyed with Sakura than anything else. When they're participating in the bell test, for instance, Sasuke views her as a weighted ball and chain. He's annoyed, he's gritting his teeth in frustration that she's crying, basically saying, girl, you're useless, because she thought he was hurt, and he rushes off to finish the bell test without showing any regard or acknowledgement for Sakura's emotional display, versus the manga is completely different. He goes out of his way to tell her that he's fine and not to worry about him, that she can let go of him, and when he says he's leaving to finish the bell test, Sasuke's shown blushing in the manga when he looks at Sakura out the corner of his eye, versus in the anime, he doesn't even pay her any mind, let alone blush. The anime depicted him as this stone cold guy that was set on the bell test and going after revenge, when in reality, he always had a soft spot for Sakura as early on as the first volume of the manga. It was a part of his character. During the tuning exams, the anime again makes these subtle changes, removing the blush on Sasuke's cheek when he tells Sakura that she probably saw through the genjutsu, and he's shown smirking with pride, hiding a blush when she confirms that statement, which the anime outright cuts out. The same with the Land of Waves arc, where the anime makes him come across as cold and uncaring when Sakura's hugging him when she thought that he was dead after Haku's attack. In the manga, when Sakura's rubbing his cheek against his face, Sasuke's shown blushing during that embrace, unable to look at her during that emotional moment. Back in volume 1 of the story, when Sakura's being super thirsty for Sasuke during the Team 7 introduction to Kakashi, the anime makes Sasuke completely indifferent to Sakura's words, and the stoic appearance gives off the impression that he doesn't care. But once again, we see the consistent theme of Sakura causing Sasuke to blush when she's in his presence. That's in the manga. The same with the Force of Death, where Sasuke is in visible discomfort, and we see Sasuke reaching out to grab Sakura's hand instinctually when he's fighting off the effects of the curse mark. You don't see that in the anime. I can understand the creative decision made, going for the whole cool and calm and unbothered co-main character and rival to Naruto. Naruto, this character who is so expressive and open with his feelings, versus Sasuke being untethered by things like a crush on his female teammate. Yet the problem with this is that this is part of the expressiveness of his character in part 1, and it's something that we would learn after Naruto's manga concluded in 2014, that all of this was done as a part of Masashi Kishimoto's effort to write a love triangle between the members of Team 7. All of this was intentional, and the anime disregards it. Naruto had his heart openly set on Sakura. Sakura had her heart openly set on Sasuke, and Sasuke was too prideful and wrapped up in his own demons that he couldn't cop to his feelings that he had for Sakura, but it was a use of dramatic irony where we as readers could see what Sakura couldn't, which are the hints that Sasuke cared for her. This goes further when you dive into the data books, where Sakura is written as having once loved Sasuke, but after Naruto returns to the village, the narrator in the data book says that Naruto was making her heart flutter and she was uncertain about her feelings towards Naruto, and she was looking for the answers for how she felt about Naruto. This all goes back to what Kishimoto said, effort to build a love triangle. All of this stuff serves as a crescendo to build up to that moment where Sasuke puts Sakura under the genjutsu at the end of Naruto's manga. It's only small stuff, but as is oftentimes the case, it's the subtleties of writing that make you appreciate the characters more if it's properly shown. Like, for instance, the way that Sasuke fans, even in 2024, still misunderstand what restored the Uchiha clan meant. People still think it means to have a harem, and Sasuke having multiple children running around, and they don't understand how the meaning behind that statement, restore the Uchiha clan, continuously evolved throughout the Naruto manga itself, which I break down in this video you see on the screen.